everyone. Next, we have BioVaxys Technology Corp. It trades on the OTCQB under the symbol BVAXF and on the CSE under the symbol BIOV. It's a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company dedicated to improving patient lives with novel immunotherapies. Please welcome its CEO, James Passin. Welcome to the conference today, James.
Yeah, thank you. Great to be here.
All right, the floor is yours, and I believe you want to start with a video.
Yeah, I wanted to start with a quick scientific video. This explains really the core of how our technology works. Now, our technology is applicable far beyond cancer, but I think this is a good place to start, and then we can get into the presentation.
Perfect. All right, let's roll it.
Immunotherapy uses a person's own immune system to fight cancer. Therapeutic immunomodulating molecules are designed to stimulate the immune system to create an anti-cancer immune response. Water-based formulations are typically used to deliver such molecules, but historically there have been several challenges to this approach. The immune response may not be sufficiently robust because there is inconsistent delivery of antigen to regional lymph nodes, which are the primary site of immune cell activation. The immune response may not be sufficiently targeted, leading to adverse events. The immune response may not be sufficiently long-lasting because the exposure to antigen may be too brief due to diffusion away from the injection site. To address these challenges, BioVaxys is developing the DPX platform, a novel lipid-based vesicle technology capable of delivering a wide range of bioactive molecules. DPX technology produces a robust, targeted, and long-lasting anti-cancer immune response for the treatment of solid and hematologic malignancies. How does it work? The DPX platform is a versatile delivery technology that can be packed with bioactive molecules, including peptides, proteins, virus-like particles, small molecules, or nucleic acids. DPX lipid vesicles are reconstituted in oil. The DPX therapy can be delivered by simple subcutaneous injection, resulting in a small, concentrated and encapsulated volume of antigen. The unique water-free composition of DPX prevents diffusion of its cargo into tissues or the bloodstream, maintaining the immunomodulating molecules at the injection site, where they interact with antigen-presenting cells, or APCs. APCs actively take up the DPX lipid vesicles containing the bioactive molecules. The APCs then travel to regional lymph nodes, where they activate specific T and B lymphocytes in a targeted fashion. These activated lymphocytes circulate in the bloodstream, infiltrate the tumor tissue, and only kill targeted cancer cells expressing those specific antigens. DPX lipid vesicles persist in the subcutaneous tissues for extended periods of time, resulting in a robust and long-lasting immune response. DPX prevents systemic release of cargo, which reduces side effects. In summary, the DPX platform is a lipid-based vesicle technology that is capable of carrying a wide range of immunomodulating components to educate a specific immune response. The DPX platform produces a robust, targeted, and long-lasting immunotherapeutic response while preserving a patient's quality of life. BioVaxys is developing a portfolio of DPX-based immunotherapies that are being investigated in multiple solid and hematologic cancers. BioVaxys aims to expand the DPX platform's potential to treat a broad range of cancers.
All right, James, you are live. Begin your presentation whenever you're ready, and call me back when you're ready for questions.
Yeah, fantastic. I'll just give a quick introduction to the company. So just on a background in terms of management, I'm a former hedge fund manager. I don't come from the pharmaceutical biotech industry, but I directed significant investments into biotech over a 17-year period. I'm co-founder of BioVaxys and the CEO. My colleague, Ken Kovan, is our president and COO. He comes from the pharma and biotech industry, with a very successful career. And our chief medical officer, Dr. David Bird, is one of the pioneers in cancer immunotherapy. Now, he was not involved with inventing or anything to do with DPX. We acquired that from another company, but he is an expert in the field of cancer immunotherapy. We're quite happy to have him in a lead position. So we essentially have two immunotherapy platforms, DPX and HapTenix. So HapTenix was invented by Dr. David Bird, but our main focus is right now is DPX. I just provided the video on DPX so that it becomes clear how it works in terms of mechanism of action. So we're moving forward a number of different products based on DPX. And really, the most important thing to know about my company is that in February of this year, we acquired 100% of the intellectual property formerly owned by a now bankrupted Canadian biotechnology company, IMV Inc. The IMV was listed on NASDAQ. It was a widely followed company, highly regarded, well-funded. It did excellent scientific work, excellent product development, excellent IP patents. It was a great company, other than it spent too much money. Ultimately went into bankruptcy last year, and ultimately BioVaxys acquired 100% of the intellectual property of IMV, which includes 120 patents, we have 2 licensees, trademarks, data. And so in terms of so IMV's market cap, I think its peak market cap is about $400 million. By recommendations from 6 major banks, Wall Street, Bay Street. So it was it was a highly regarded company. We're excited. We don't have any active clinical programs, but we have all of the technology that IMV had, and we purchased it for $1 million. So the core problem with other antigen delivery systems is that they, with the aqueous or emulsion, is that they start leaching the cargo into tissues, which is very inefficient, because what you want to do is you want to communicate with the lymph node system to produce an adaptive immune response. So when you're leaking cargo, whether it's mRNA or whatever antigens, whatever you have, it can have unknown toxicity, side effects, as well as far less efficacy. So we have a proven long-lasting mechanism of action to educate the immune system through DPX, which we consider to be an immunoeducation platform. So with our lead product, MVPS, is an example of DPX technology. That is basically DPX with the survivin antigen, which we have a license from Merck. So Merck owns the survivin antigen. It's an antigen that's overexpressed in certain types of cancer, including ovarian. IMV completed a phase 2B trial for ovarian, so it's ready to go into phase 3. It's the lead asset. So it's in terms of, as the video mentioned, there's long duration. It's versatile. We can load a wide range of cargo, and there's been excellent results, peer-reviewed and published. And you can look through the data from IMV's trials at your own leisure. But I would mention that it's much bigger than cancer. It's also infectious diseases. We have a RSV program from a product from IMV that has excellent results. We have an anthrax vaccine with absolutely excellent preclinical results. So we really, it's a delivery system. And then we have some other new initiatives in allergy desensitization, mRNA, which utilizes the same DPX delivery vehicle. In terms of we acquired this broad clinical pipeline. Almost all these products are from IMV. As I mentioned, MVPS is our lead product, but we have other earlier stage products that are focusing on different types of cancer as well as infectious diseases. And when you look at this pipeline, you have to understand that there's been, that IMV probably invested over $250 million in R&D. So this is there's been a significant investment of capital and time and effort to develop this technology, the underlying core technology in this product pipeline. So in terms of preclinical, we're quite excited about our allergy program because DPX, we can use that to communicate with lymph nodes and desensitize to an allergy, for example, with peanut allergy. We think it's possible, and the scientists we're working with, that a single subcutaneous shot could it could desensitize to allergies over a few years. So we're quite excited about that. And also mRNA, there's this huge mRNA personalized cancer revolution. We know that we have the best in class lipid delivery technology, and we think it's very suitable to mRNA. Another product we with two licensees, Zoetis and Spayvac. These are both in the area of animal healthcare. These potentially are revenue generating, and both Spayvac and Zoetis have told us that they expect to go in for regulatory approval next year. And what I like about animal healthcare is there's no FDA or equivalent regulator. It's much easier to get to the market. And I love receiving license revenue because there's no cost to receiving cash. We have a partnership with ProCare Health Iberia on our HapTenix ovarian cancer vaccine, which, as I mentioned earlier, is not our primary focus right now. And as I mentioned, we already in-licensed Survivin from Merck. Number of milestones. We've reconnected with all of the teams that were doing abandoned preclinical phase 1 studies with IMV using DPX. Every single scientist is keen to re-engage and move forward. We've looked at the results. That these were not completed trials, but it looks very exciting. So we're quite keen to launch really all those trials.
All right, are you ready for some questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's jump in. You mentioned the DPX platform. So how did you buy the DPX platform and the $300 million of R&D spending for almost nothing?
Well, it's a long story, but to make it as short as possible, we were following IMV as a peer. We were quite impressed with the technology. We admired the company in terms of its research. Luckily, I was not a shareholder, but we saw, we were surprised when the company went into bankruptcy. So the bankruptcy estate hired FDI Consulting to try to market the intellectual property. BioVaxys was invited to participate. So we got it. We signed an NDA. We looked at the data. We liked it. We loved it. And so that sale process failed. And then the former secured creditor of IMV did a credit bid and extracted the intellectual property from the bankruptcy estate. And then we purchased it from that lender. So while the upfront payment was only $1 million, they have back in some consideration, which we think will be significant, including sales royalty, milestone payments. So really, the lender is going to make significant amount of cash on the successful development of the product.
Fantastic.
So we're basically the last man standing and came in with a bid, including some cash, and we were lucky enough to agree to this deal in December and close it in February.
And there are a lot of shares outstanding. So are you planning a rollback? What's your plan?
Yeah, there's no plan to do a rollback. I mean, I've seen rollbacks, fail to create value for shareholders. If there's some reason to do a rollback, I mean, we can consider it. I would mention look at some peers like Northwest Biotherapeutics. I think it's got something like 1.4 billion shares outstanding, and yet it trades fairly, the liquid stock. I think it's 28 cents US today. So we don't see an urgent need or any real pressing need to do a rollback. I'm the largest shareholder. I really don't want to do it. So we have no plans to do it right now.
And when will you start receiving revenue from the 2 licenses in animal healthcare?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, both Zoetis and Spayvac told us that they're going to go in for regulatory approval next year. In the case of Spayvac, Australia. In case of Zoetis, it's Australia. It's Spayvac, it's the United States. So I don't know. We don't know. I mean, we're not running that process. We don't know how long the approval process will take. But assuming they get approval, potentially the end of next year, or certainly by 2026, we would expect to start to receive revenue.
And do you have any discussions with Big Pharma?
Yeah, we've had some introductory discussions. We've had an interesting discussion with a large company from Japan. We've got some interest with Mega Pharma from China. We have some other, early stage discussions. I don't have like an imminent deal, but there's a lot of interest in the DPX platform and our products.
And talk about your preclinical and clinical trials. When are you planning to launch them?
So in terms of MVPS, our plan right now is to more like do a licensing deal. It would be a very expensive trial. With our market cap right now, it's really not realistic to fund it as much as we like the product. The continuing the phase 1 studies that were abandoned, much lower capital involved. We really like the data. So it's a matter of access to resources. And in preclinical, we're very close to launching the allergy and mRNA programs as well.
We have a question from Mark. He is a longtime investor, and he wants to know if the purchase of the 47 kilogram of lipid product has been secured yet.
That's a great question. We're in advanced discussions. And I would mention a few things that it would take over a year to have a CDMO to produce that much GMP grade lipids. And that would be enough to do every single trial we need to do, animal studies, human studies, the next 3 years. And so we're very close to securing the deal. We're working on kind of a broader arrangement because there was some IMV equipment that was left at the university where the lipids are. We're looking at maybe having a facility there. So we're negotiating with the university like a broader package, but no one else has any need for this lipid. So we expect to get it on a very attractive price.
And a question from Zariah, the DPX and HapTenix, if I said that correctly, I hope I did, wanting to know what's the real difference between the two and why focus on one versus the other?
Yeah, so like HapTenix, and again, as I mentioned, invented by Dr. David Bird, our chief medical officer. I mean, it's kind of an older technology, and it's sometimes harder to get the capital required for large-scale clinical trials with older technology. But we love it. There's a lot of peer-reviewed and published results on data that the FDA-approved trials. So HapTenix is chemically modifying an individual's cancer cell with the chemical called hapten, which makes the antigens on the cancer cell highly immunogenic, and it's antigen agnostic. So everything's haptenized, and we know that the lymph nodes kind of crowd out T cells focused on self-antigen. So there's a natural mechanism that allows that to effectively flag the neoantigens and create a T cell response against cancer. In the case of DPX, it's totally different. It's like a lipid encapsulation. It's a lipid delivery technology. So in the case of DPX, sort of the opposite of HapTenix, which is you haptenize everything. In the case of DPX, you load it with whatever you want to present to the immune system, whether it's peptides, proteins, virus-like particles, anything. So essentially, the antigens that you're delivering to communicate to the lymph node system through DPX is what is triggering the specific adaptive immune response.
And Dane says the IND patients and technology, assuming you're going to partner when it's time for manufacturing and distribution, his question is, which major would this tech fit best with? Or would you be pulled towards Merck because of your license there?
It's a great question. We know that DPX is of immense relevance to the mRNA developers. So you can look at Pfizer, Merck, BioNTech. They have other lipid solutions. We think DPX is better, but we think there's a huge opportunity there. Really, I would look broadly. There are a number of pharma companies that are going after neoantigen discovery. So what are neoantigens? They're antigens that are present in tumor, cancer, and not in healthy cells. So really the idea behind neoantigen research is to identify neoantigens that could be used to create immunotherapy. So DPX is an ideal delivery vehicle for neoantigens. So any company involved in neoantigen discovery, we think would have huge interest in looking at DPX. And also considering the outstanding results in infectious diseases from IMV's research, we think there's a lot of applicability there. Allergy, you can look at the companies involved in allergies.
And there we go. Sorry, we froze again. A question from Dwayne asking about the current BioVaxys program. What's your differentiating factor? How is it superior to other developers of similar technology out there?
Well, as I mentioned in the presentation, and as hopefully was clear from the scientific video, DPX is the only lipid antigen delivery technology that stays at the site of injection and does not leach the cargo into tissues. So it creates a durable, effective response, minimizing risk for unwanted side effects, toxicity. And there's a significant amount of animal and human data from the work that IMV did developing DPX. So we can also accommodate much larger payloads in other lipid delivery technology platforms. So it's a lot more versatile. So DPX is absolutely the best-in-class lipid delivery technology platform.
And last question from Karina. She's asking about your burn. How lean are you running, and are you seeing any issues with financing in this environment?
Yeah, look, we've been financing the company through non-brokered private placements. Our burn rate's quite tight. I think it's 96% lower than IMV's burn rate. So we are lean. We do want to bulk up the team. We're in discussions with a number of former IMV employees or advisors to bring them on as advisors. We intend to build up a production facility. We absolutely want to increase the burn rate, but we want to do it prudently in a way that maximizes shareholder value.
Wonderful. James, do you have any closing remarks for our viewers today?
Well, look, I obviously biased, but I think the acquisition of the IMV technology for $1 million is really the pharma transaction of the decade. I'm committed to creating value for shareholders. I'm the largest shareholder. We care about shareholders, and we've got a lot going on. So I think we're in the right space at the right time, and it's going to be a great several-year period.
Wonderful. We're so happy you joined us on the conference. We look forward to you coming back and us following along with these updates.
All right. Thank you.
All right, everyone, stay with us. We'll be right back.